I have analyzed all of my trades, 41 trades in total, and what I discovered, it's very interesting. What I discovered is the opposite of what I was expecting to discover. And this is what I'm going to share with you today. Alright, 41 trades in total. It's a lot of data to go through, and it's a lot of data to gather, although I'm happy I've done this. And the reason I'm happy I've done this is because right now I can actually identify what the real issue is. And this is not necessarily a psychological issue that I'm facing right now. It's more of a data related and technical issue that I will share with you in just a moment. So my system when it comes to trading, it's fairly simple. I am dividing my trades into tiers. So tier 1, which is the highest quality, perfect trade. Tier 2, and then in tier 2, I have tier 2A and tier 2B. And tier 2A is just a slightly imperfect version of tier 1. And then tier 2B, it's something that can go with a counter trend or a reversal. So it's more and more imperfect of the 2A, right? So let's say a very high quality trade, a quality trade, and a less quality trade, right? So when I look at my system, I just look at it like that. So I followed the system, which to me it's something that's encouraging, because initially when I saw that I'm losing, I asked myself if I'm actually following the system. And what I discovered is that I followed the system. 32 trades out of the 41 trades were actually part of my system, right? But the problem was more complicated than that. So my system waits for price to reach an important area, break or reclaim a level, retest that level, and then confirm the direction, right? This is basically what my system is. It's about the support and resistance, and then I'm waiting for the price to react on that support and resistance level, and then whenever I get a retest or confirmation, I'm entering the trade accordingly. I'll just show you the numbers right now. I'm going to show you a chart and a graph, and then I'll show you exactly how the system looks and how many trades I took in total for each one of the tiers, and then we're going to return to the video. This is the graph that I wanted to show you, and as you can see, these are my categories. So tier 1, tier 2A, tier 2B, and there's another category that I created, which is outside the system trades. So for tier 1, I had only one trade with one win. And then tier 2A, 9 trades, out of which 4 wins, 3 losses, and 2 break-evens. Tier 2B, I had 22 trades, out of which 8 wins, 11 losses, which by the way, it's a lot for the tier 2B to trade. These are a lot of trades in total, and 3 break-evens. And outside the system trades, again, a lot of trades, mostly at the beginning because I was still trying to figure out the system. These were probably for the first maybe 12 or 13 trades. 9 in total, 3 wins, 5 losses, and 1 break-even. Now, the funny thing is that all of these break-evens could have been wins because I closed them all manually, and then soon after I closed them, the market would have gone in my direction. And so if I were to count all these 6 wins, then my system would have been profitable, because then I would have had 6 wins and 3 losses. This would have been actually break even, and this was just one trade difference, but then again, it's outside the system, so I'm not gonna let this affect my win to lose ratio when it comes to the system. So this is what I wanted to show you. I hope everything makes a bit more sense now, and let's return to the video. All right. So now that you've seen the graph, you can probably understand what I've done wrong, which is I traded mostly the low quality setups. And that is not necessarily a bad thing, because I deliberately wanted to trade more, which wasn't over trading, by the way. I just wanted myself to trade more so I can train the muscle of actually pulling the trigger, finding myself inside the trade. And with that in mind, in a way, I've managed to achieve my goal, but the P&L was greatly affected by it because I had more losers than winners. And that really shows something. That shows something that it's encouraging, but it also shows the areas that I need to improve the most. The system needs to be changed. And I'm going to be a lot more rigid with the way I'm going to allow myself to trade from now on. I'm going to be a lot more strict with that. So tier 2B can only be traded under certain conditions. This is one of the changes that I've made. Tier 2A will become my main trading system, my main core system, because what you've seen in the graph is that tier 1 only occurred once out of the 41 trades. So tier 1 is more of an ideal than what the markets can actually deliver, because the real world market conditions aren't always ideal, right? So imperfections will always be present. That's why I've also created the tier list, because I understood that it's like impossible to have a perfect entry. It's almost impossible to have the absolute confirmation, which is basically what tier 1 is designed around. And that's not necessarily going to work. The other issue, other than me trading the 2B too many times, is that I've had a lot of trades where I couldn't take all the profits out. I left a lot of profits on the table. And that was mainly because my system didn't really have a trade management into place. I was mainly entering with one position, and then from that position, I'll take the profit out at around 1 risk to reward, sometimes even less, which has affected my P&L. Although right now I understood that I need more entries with the same amount of risk, although I need more entries. So instead of entering with only one position, right now I'm going to enter with 3 positions, 4 positions. And then let's say, for example, 2 positions go to 1 risk to reward. And then I'm going to take the profits there. And then I'm going to leave 2 runners to go. And then with these 2 runners, I can then take the profits at 2 risk to reward, or even higher sometimes, by adjusting the stop loss and by making sure that I'm protecting the capital that I'm already winning. So that is another thing that I have discovered. And there were a lot of trades, maybe 6 or 7 trades, that could have made a lot more money than whatever they made. One trade in particular I remember could have made 4 risk to reward. The ratio was absolutely great, although I closed the trade at around 0.75 risk to reward, which again is not profitable in the long run, especially when your system is close to being 50-50. When you have a 50-50 win rate, not having a great risk to reward will most likely affect the P&L absolutely. So that is something that I am doing as well. And the other thing that I've done, and this is more of a psychological issue than technical, is that I've closed a lot of trades manually at break even. Maybe 6 trades. I don't really remember the data right now. It was probably in the graph that I showed you. 5 or 6 trades were closed manually at break even, and only for them to discover that the markets were going in my direction. And this is funny because this is not necessarily a problem with the system. This is a problem with myself, because when you overanalyze the markets, and when every single candle it's so meaningful and so important, the tendency is to get out of that trade immediately, because you just cannot handle the pain anymore. The uncertainty is too much for you to handle, which is exactly what happened to me. And right now, because my trade management is now implemented into my system, even if I'm going to feel uncertain, even if I'm going to feel like the trade is not really worth that much risk or money, I will have the 4 positions that I'm in, and so probably I can reduce the risk, not fully exit or not fully close everything, which hopefully is going to help me improve my P&L. So these are the main things that I found. There are a lot more, little mistakes that I've done. There was also an element of bad luck, which I've discussed about in my previous video. But these are the main ones. These are the things that I know they need to change, and I have to make these changes in order for me to achieve my goal, which is to master the system and to have a profitable system. The real reason I wanted to make this video is because I just wanted to show how important it is to have a journal, how important it is to collect all the data for everything when it comes to trading. And I have over 100 and maybe 10 pages that I had to print out and then analyze and then look over it and then see whatever is happening. And then I do write a lot as well. So I'm taking screenshots of the charts, of my entries, of everything, and then I'm writing a lot when it comes to the reasons why I'm entering and whatever I'm feeling in that moment and what I could have done better, and so on and so forth. And I'm also looking at the trade whenever I'm exit as well, and then whatever happened with the trade afterwards. So there's a lot of data, which takes a lot of time, but it turns out right now to be very useful moving forward. So if you don't have a journal, I highly encourage you to have one. And I highly encourage you to sit with yourself and to analyze your thoughts as well, because this is what I'm really doing with YouTube. All my videos are about this. This is pretty much my journal as well. I'm just putting myself out there so that everybody can have access to my journal, which will turn out hopefully to be very beneficial for everybody, not just for me. Trading is a marathon, and this is a conclusion that I really came at recently. And whenever I was trading the 2B, the very low quality trades, I didn't really see it that way. I thought that, you know what, maybe this trade is gonna deliver the money. You know what, I'm just gonna enter right now because this has potential, and maybe now is the time, maybe this will give me what I need. It's not that. Trading is not a sprint. Trading is a marathon. And having all these insights and just being able again to look at everything that's happening and to have the whole big picture around all these things, it's beneficial, because without it, there won't be any changes. And We all want different results, especially when we're not profitable. But it will be insane to assume that we can have different results by doing the same thing over and over and over again, which again proves and shows why having data and going over the data is so critical, because we can then understand what's really happening and what's wrong. So this is what I wanted to share with you. These are all my findings for now. The previous videos that I made were mostly psychological and whatever was happening to me on a weekly basis, where now this pretty much completes the bigger picture with real data and the changes that I'm trying to make as well.